If you know me, you know that I use the term permaculture a lot. If you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, you'll know that I say that word quite a bit. But what exactly does that mean? Well, I'm about to tell you my view of it and how I use it. Alright guys, whoa, sorry, I almost fell over. I'm hunkered down here in the shade of a beautiful tree under which I've planted our pumpkins. And you can actually tell by looking at some of the leaves, and I'm not sure if you can see it good in the video, but there is some damage from slugs, so hopefully we'll get that fixed up. But I'm under here to kind of talk to you about permaculture. Permaculture is a very interesting concept. It was developed by a couple of scientists in Australia, the most famous and notably being Bill Mollison. Back in the 1970s, they wrote a book, I think it was 1978, but it was called Permaculture 1. And it was where they basically did this whole course on how to grow things and develop your land in a way that copies nature. Okay, perma meaning permanent, and culture meaning the way that organisms and different things live together in a system. So basically the permanent culture of what's around you. And the way we do this is by using natural ingredients and natural systems of both composting, mulching, companion planting, things of this nature that really ties everything together. And really now I'm kind of seeing a lot of these systems starting to work together. The rabbits and chickens poop, we use that as manure in with our compost to basically further the garden for next year or for next season. It's just a fantastic concept, and I'm studying more about it every day. And but yeah, permaculture, it's the way to go, and it's the way that we're growing everything on this property. Well guys, permaculture is a pretty deep subject, but overall, basically, like I said, it's about using the earth and Earth's natural systems to grow things, to manage life, basically to live the way that nature intended and not the way that humans have turned it into. Now luckily we have a lot of cool stuff that we use, like tools and all the modern amenities, but we need to always take a look back and think, well, how does the earth do it? If you can't make very good soil, just look at nature. In the fall and winter with ice storms and wind, a lot of debris, leaves fall off, branches fall off and hit the ground. And those compost over time with water and, along with the animals coming by and helping fertilize it, and it becomes better soil. And if you walk out into the forest area, like if you were to walk out in here somewhere and dig down about a foot, you'd see what I mean. It's some good stuff. And that's because nature made it and we didn't. All right guys, I'll give you a good example. Here beside the house we have some wild blackberries growing. Okay, and they're still in their red stage. They haven't ripened yet. They're pretty small still, but here possibly within the next couple weeks we'll see some. Now look at all the ground cover that's evaded it, all the weeds growing up. We would think that we would need to rip all this out, put down some mulch around it, trim out all the weeds, prune them, fertilize it, all that extra stuff, but really they'll grow just fine sitting out there. Now of course all that stuff that I mentioned could definitely help them, I guess, with yield or whatnot, but these beautiful things will grow without our help. I mean, it rains, gives them water, the ground cover helps them retain water. There's nutrients being leached into the ground through composition of the topsoil there and the stuff on the topsoil. It's just a beautiful system, and I think too often we try to mess with things. I'm not going to actually bother these. I'm not going to fertilize them or anything. And as they grow, we'll just come out here and pick us a little bit to put in the freezer, and we'll enjoy them, and we'll just let God do it. Another project that I have going is I'm taking this rock pile that I've got, and I'm actually going to load up these extra rocks that were on our property when we got here, and I'm going to build garden beds, much like I have around the chicken there. We're going to finish the back side of the chicken pen and create a good spot to plant some good shade perennials, some flowers and things for pollination, and to attract bees and butterflies and whatnot for our property. So we're going to do that. But the reason I like to line with rocks, and this is an interesting point, most people would go buy some kind of plastic liner to put around your beds or something of that nature, but really rocks come from the earth, and they have a astonishing amount of minerality. So when you line your beds with rocks, some of that minerality over time will be released and leached into the soil and can help with soil fertility. You know, so many times as humans we try to take things away from the earth and out of the earth, but we don't replenish and give back to the earth. So by lining my beds with rocks, I'm hoping to first of all have a free, kind of easy way of lining the beds, which helps me out. But then also minerality can leach back into the soil, and it could help the soil and the plants. Because, you know, even plants need minerals. They need, you know, zinc, sodium. They need all kind of good stuff that we normally tend to give back to the earth with chemicals, you know, synthetic fertilizers, and we try to recreate this mineral process when you can easily do things like crushed up eggshells for calcium. You can put Epsom salt in there, in and around, you know, not a whole lot because you might burn plants, but you could put, you know, a handful of Epsom salt here and there. You know, rocks, rock dust, all kind of stuff you can put into the soil and into your garden that can definitely help be beneficial. All right, here we are at the back side of the chicken coop. So there's my chicken coop and all that, chicken yard. And we're around this tree here, which gives an incredible amount of shade. So what we're going to do here is utilize this to plant some shade perennials, some bulbs and roots that we got on sale here at the end of the spring season. We got these things for like $1, okay? They were putting them on sale, bags of, you know, 2, 3, 5 roots and bulbs on sale for $1, regularly $5 and $10. This was a great opportunity, so we're going to plant some here in this shaded area. And I wanted to line the beds with these rocks to help with erosion, as far as containing the mulch and soil and keeping it in the bed. But also aesthetically, it is quite pleasing, and I haven't really got it all done yet, but and you can see there a spot where we've had some erosion where the chicken manure from the pen and from the coop, along with mulch and other things, has kind of washed out into the grass, and that's what we want to not have happen. We want to contain it. You might remember from my garden tour video, and of course I'll put a little link to it like up there. But in that video, we went over the experiment of putting watermelons here. And I planted about 3, and there's 2 more down there. About 5 or so watermelons around this little curve here at the back side of the pen. And the reason I wanted to experiment with this was to see how watermelons would do in shade, because they are a full sun plant. But I also took into consideration these beautiful rabbits and chickens giving off all their nitrogen that they drop out of their backside will be washed due to the slope of our property, and will come down and actually fertilize hopefully these plants here, which might do some good. So that's kind of fun. We'll experiment with that, and then behind them we'll plant a beautiful array of different colors of partial shade to full shade bulbs and roots, and that'll make us a good little beneficial bed for both bees, butterflies, and any other pollinators. So I'm just going to lay these rocks down, and then I'll come back and show you what I did. Alrighty guys, I just finished putting in these last few rocks to make this little curve. And you can see it kind of adds some interest to it. I've got my little stepstone there that we use for getting eggs out of the nesting box on this side. It just adds a lot of really pleasing aesthetic to it. Really nice little beds. And what we'll do over time is we'll start adding some compost and some things to this bed in order to enrich it and develop the soil here. So probably by next spring, we'll have the soil hopefully built up through permaculture concepts to bring some really nice things. And what we could do is we could plant some vining crops here. Not really necessarily watermelons, but anyway, things like peas, beans maybe, and let them run up the chicken wall there and kind of climb and trellis all over this thing to give the chickens like a nice little treat. You know, I think that'd be nice to kind of give them something to nibble at and to chew at over time as it grows. Plus it can help as a windbreak and kind of be a natural solution there to that whole thing. But really excited about this bed, guys. Really loving it. I'll give you updates over the next couple weeks, but I'm just really thrilled. And these rocks were, again, free and hopefully beneficial to the beds. Wow, okay, almost 3.5 inches. Plus we had an inch the other day, so this week we've probably had, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 inches of rain, which is super good for the plants. We just have to make sure we're taking good care of them and offering these pest solutions and kind of making sure that they do good, because rain is good for them, but strong winds can often damage some plants. Whew. Well guys, it is hot and humid out here today, so I'm actually going to head in until later on, but that's basically just a look at permaculture. I would recommend you researching it and learning more about it. And a good way to learn about it is actually watching someone else go through the trials and tribulations of starting permaculture systems, maintaining them, developing them. And the best way to do that, hit subscribe. Hit that little subscribe button down there. Like the videos, watch them, enjoy them. They're free for you, and I really like doing them. So if you want to learn more about permaculture, just tune in. I'll put out videos, hopefully about one or two videos a week is what I'm hoping to do. So hope you enjoy it and y'all have a blessed day.